Okay, so you want to debug MotionBuilder with PyCharm. It's actually not hard to set up, but there are some things that you can get stuck on. I'll try to go over some of that right now. So the first thing that you need to do is, well, go over into PyCharm and let's get a debugger set up. So we'll come down into here, edit configurations, under this menu here. You can also get to it through, I don't know, run, edit configurations, same thing. Going to want to head and add a new remote debugger. I'm going to go Python remote debug. I'm going to give this a name. Most of these settings are okay. Localhost just means you're going to go locally. You can go from one machine to another, but we're not doing that here. Port, if you leave it at here at 0, it'll randomly give it a number every time you start. Problem with that is you have to tell MotionBuilder to use that number. So we're going to lock it down rather than have to retype in a random number every time. I'm just going to say 99999, and nobody's using that. I'm going to leave these checked down here. Basically, this is going to take the console output from MotionBuilder and pump it into PyCharm so you can see some of what's happening. And suspend, I usually leave this off, but I'm going to leave it on. It'll just kind of confirm that the connection worked and allow us to do things if we want to. So I'm going to just go ahead and leave that, say OK. So that's selected, but we haven't actually started it yet. So we'll start it by hitting the little bug button. And now we've started up a debugger down here. It says it's waiting for connection. And what you need to be able to do is to type essentially this stuff into MotionBuilder and have it execute. The problem is that out of the box, you cannot import PyDevD. MotionBuilder doesn't know where it is. That's fairly typical. It's not a big deal. What you have to do is be able to import that. You have to tell it, in its Python path, hey, this is where PyDevD is. So where is it? Well, it should be located at the root of your PyCharm installation. You'll find these two egg files, PyCharm debug egg and debug py3k. Basically, the top one is for Python 2, and the bottom is for Python 3. So we definitely want this one. And what I typically do is just copy the path, shift right-click, copy as path, and then you can paste that wherever you need to. These egg files are essentially zip files. They're just containers. They're like folders. And you could actually take and open one up with WinRAR or whatever, and you can inspect the contents. You can extract it if you want to, and not have it inside of an egg file. You can put it in a specific folder if you want to. That's fine. But we're just going to leave it as an egg for now. Okay. So back over here in MotionBuilder, I've already typed this up. I'm not going to do it again. But we import sys, and then we've got our constant, this PyCharm egg path, which is that file I just told you about, the debug egg. And we basically say, if this path is not inside of our system path, which is our Python path, go ahead and add it. And we do this if here so that we don't keep adding it over and over and over. Now that it's there, we can finally import. Once we've got it imported, we can run the next command, which actually does the connection. So it's pydevd set trace localhost, the port that we had specified 999, and then this other stuff. And again, that's the same thing that it was telling you to type right here in this line. So we should be good to go with that. So I'll go ahead and select everything and execute it. And when we do that, it popped me over to PyCharm. That's because we had to suspend on connect. So hey, that's good. It's a good sign. It means we're connected. And while we're over here, we can do things like in the console. We can do things like import pyfdsuk, and then I can do mycube equals pyfdsuk dot fd model cube dot not dot, but a string in here is what it needs for its name. And then we'll go mycube dot show equals true, and mycube dot selected equals true. Okay, so it ran those successfully, and I can kind of query mycube here and take a look at it and tell me that, oh yeah, there it is, there's mycube. I can take and run an expression here and go mycube like that, and it'll give me the results of that down in here. I can do things like, let's get the prop name or prop in mycube.property. And here are all of our properties that are on the object, and you can inspect those as well. So anyways, you can do all kinds of things while this is live and running. But if we go back to MotionBuilder, it seems to be frozen, and that's because PyCharm kind of has control at the moment. So you need to resume, and now I can't type anything down in here, it just won't do anything because it's not actually driving, it's not in control. But we have control of MotionBuilder now, and there's our cube down over here that we just made. It's called MyCube, and it's visible, and it's selected. So all of that worked just fine. So what if you want a debug script, right? That's really the whole point. This is where it gets interesting. So I've loaded in this cam switcher bad script, and I'm going to throw something bad into it. And I'm doing something that's really a problem just to show you why and what happens here. I'm going to go 1 divided by 0. So we should hit an exception saying you can't divide by 0. And I'll go ahead and hit the play button. And there we go, we hit our exception. Actually kind of surprised. I guess I must have saved it on disk with that. It does, well, okay, I'll skip that point. Anyways, it hit the exception. We've come over to the debugger, the variables. You can see that there's the exception right here. And it tells you there's a 0 division error. So if we hit play, back out of this, we'll go ahead and correct this. Now PyCharm automatically saves, but those saves don't show up in here. This is MotionBuilder doesn't automatically refresh it, so I had to go back and open it back up. That 1 divided by 0 that I deleted is gone now. Okay, so if I want to do more than just handle exceptions, you probably want to throw some breakpoints in and step through. And that's not hard to do either. Just open the script up that you're running in PyCharm and go ahead and set the breakpoints wherever you want them to be, and go back inside of MotionBuilder and run it. And with the debugger connected, of course, it'll catch the breakpoint and you can start stepping through. Just using the standard commands, following the thread, which will become more useful as things become nested in functions and classes and other stuff. Everything you had available a second ago is still available. You can come in and do things with the console if you wanted to. If you wanted to do something into the expression editor, you could do it here too, to inspect something like this. You could take any of these things, so L models, what we were looking at, and if you want to watch that, you can right click on it and add it to watches, and now it'll show up in your watch variables over here. So you can do all of those things just fine. One small thing I'll point out here is that a lot of Python script, a lot of MotionBuilder scripts do from PyFBXDK import star. They just import everything into the main namespace, and you can do that. It's fine. It's not convoluted or complex, but I will say that it fills up your variables list over here really fast, and becomes a little bit cumbersome to dig through. I like to leave stuff in the PyFBXDK space, such that I just import PyFBXDK and then use that as the namespace and prefix everything with that, and that way it's all bundled up under there, and I keep the stuff that I'm debugging separate from the stuff that is shipped with MotionBuilder. You don't have to do that. That's just my thing. Here they've limited it to just these specific classes and whatnot, so they are aware of that, and they've kind of limited it themselves. But anyways, we can just kind of keep stepping through as we wanted to, and when you're ready to continue it, you just have it finish executing, just play, and there you go. So that's kind of a rough overview of setting up PyCharm with MotionBuilder and just some of the basics of debugging with it. If you have any questions, let me know. I will try to answer them as best I can.